Tip number 3, understanding the homeschool student and the international student. Okay, now this can add a whole other layer to the enrollment process because sometimes a homeschool student arrives with a beautifully organized set of records, transcript, course description, grades, everything documented, and that's great. And then sometimes Mama reaches into her purse and hands you 3 sheets of notebook paper and says, here's a transcript. Okay. And for our international students, oftentimes there's no records at all, or you can't read them because they're in another language. So now you've got a student standing in front of you who needs a schedule, but first you got to figure out what courses they've actually completed. Where should the student be placed? And if this is a high school student, especially an upperclassman, what does all of this mean for graduation? Friends, this is not the time to guess. And it's definitely not the time to say, well, sounds like Algebra 1 to me. No. Flag on the play. This is where you need to know your district and state policies and pull in the appropriate people if necessary. Depending on your school or district, that might mean working with your registrar, administrator, district office, curriculum staff, or whoever is responsible for evaluating homeschool or international records and awarding credit. Because as school counselors, our role is to help the student navigate the transition, not to independently create policy or make credit decisions outside of the established procedures. Tip number 4, build the right schedule, not just a schedule. Let me say that again for the people in the back. Build the right schedule, not just any old schedule. Okay, now we've got the student, we've got the records, we've reviewed the credits, we've got everything situated in the system, and now's the time we need to create a schedule. But here's the problem. We've already been building schedules all summer, and classes, well, you already know, they're filling up. Sections are closing, third period English is packed, that CTE elective that they had at their old school, we don't even offer that program here. And this is where we have to resist the temptation to simply put a student wherever there's an empty seat. Go back to the student's academic plan. What does this student actually need? Because there's a difference between we got them in classes and we created a schedule that moves the student forward. Sometimes that takes a little creativity. Sometimes it takes collaboration with others, like administration or the CTE department. Sometimes you need to talk with teachers. And sometimes there isn't a perfect solution. But the goal should always be to make the best educational decision we can with the options we have available. Because remember, we're not filling holes in a master schedule. We are planning for an actual student. And that brings me to my last point. Don't forget the child in the transfer. Now this is the one I really want us to remember. Don't make the student feel like they're the problem. They didn't create the records. They didn't establish the sending school documentation. Heck, they didn't even want to move here. They may already be nervous about entering or re-entering their new school environment. So, while the adults are figuring everything out, transcripts, credits, placements, documentation, remember, there is a child sitting in front of us. Welcome them. Explain the process because there's something underneath all of it, and that's called transition. That student may have just left a school where they knew everybody. Their friends are there, their teachers are there, their coach is there, their counselor is there. They knew which hallway to take, they knew where to sit at lunch, they knew who they could trust, and now they're standing in your building where they may not know anybody. And while all the adults are asking, did we get the records? Did they transfer them? What English class do they need? Somebody needs to ask the student, hey, how are you doing with all this? And that's where we take off our academic hat and put on our social emotional hat. Take a minute, introduce yourself, explain how things work, help them understand their schedule, show them where your office is, and ask them if they have any questions. And if possible, check on them again after they've had a few days to settle in. Because we don't want to become so efficient at transferring the record that we forget the transition of the child. And that goes for the students we're sending out too. If you build a relationship with that student Help them lead well. Let them know, hey, you're going to be okay. Sometimes a little reassurance goes a long way, because underneath all that swapping, sending, receiving, scheduling, and PowerSchool, we're doing something much, much bigger. We are helping students navigate change, and that's really the heart of our work. So let's recap. Number 1, communicate counselor to counselor. Number 2, get the records and review them. Number 3, take special care with unique situations like our homeschool and international students. Number 4, build the right schedule, not just a schedule. And last but certainly not least, number 5, don't forget the child in the transfer, because when one of your students becomes one of mine, I am not just receiving a transcript. I am not just receiving a PowerSchool record. I am not just receiving another name for my caseload. I'm receiving a student with history, a student with needs, a student with relationships they've left behind, and a student who is beginning a brand new chapter. And our job is to help make that handoff as seamless as possible. So, here's my challenge for the week. If you're receiving a new student right now, don't just ask, do we have everything we need from them? Also ask this question, do they have everything they need from us? That's a whole different question, isn't it? And veteran counselors, I want to hear from you in the comments. During this student swap season, what is one thing you wish every sending school would do before transferring a student sent to you? Now keep it cute, friends. We're helping each other get better. And to my new counselors going through their very first August, welcome to the draft. I hope this video helped you. And if it did, like, share, and subscribe, because we're walking through this entire school year together, month by month, story by story, lesson by lesson. And this has been another page from a year in the life of a school counselor. Game on, friends. Until next time. Bye-bye.
Thanks for watching. And don't forget, leave a comment, like, share, and subscribe.